Good afternoon. I think we'll go ahead and start. We've determined that there is a quorum. So the next item of business is to approve the minutes from February 22nd meeting. Any motions?
Move to approve.
Any seconds? Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, then we're good on that. I don't have anything to report at this time. And do any other commissioners have anything they would like to share before we dive into Kta Reimagined? I'll turn it over to staff.
Yep. Just my first thing I want to do is introduce a new employee, Pat Downs. She's our new Chief Administrative Officer. Pat comes from an extensive career in transit. She's worked at Nashville MTA. She's worked in Birmingham. She's worked for the state of Georgia. So she has a very diverse background in transit, and she also just most recently did FTA trainer reviews for agencies, states, and then also procurement system reviews. So again, just wanted to welcome Pat. Look forward to the contribution that she makes at Kta. So the other item I want to mention is just the ridership increase. Belinda, we corrected some numbers, but we're up 18.76% in February over last year. And then the next item is just the introduction of Kta Reimagined timetables and routes. And I do believe that Belinda has a presentation, so I'll give her a little bit of time to get over there. And so she'll be introducing the routes and timetables for Kta Reimagined, which the board will be voting on next month in April.
Isaac, can I ask a quick question? Yep. Is it possible to get an email if it's not too hard? I'm just curious. The ridership by month, by route, can we get basically the bar graph you have, but can you include 2019 numbers? Because I'm just curious to see where we are compared to pre-COVID.
We can.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And I will say our ridership is down pre-COVID. Sure. Yep.
Still down.
Okay. It's all right. We always have technical difficulties, so.
Okay. Can you hear me? I have to say I was really proud of myself that I managed to get this to display, but I neglected to check the audio. So technology is still not my best friend. I'm going to try to go through this real quick. You all received the packet, the full packet, and that is the packet that the public is going to see essentially now, as starting with this meeting. And it is essentially the detailed work of the original Kta Reimagined. So I'm going to try to just, since some folks are new to this process, I'm just going to try to really quickly run through what on earth got us to this point. So Kta Reimagined began in 2021. We're now in 2024, and it was just a whole re-envisioning of the transit system and making sure that it still met the needs of the public that we serve. So we went through several phases of public engagement in this process. We asked the public, what kind of transit system do you want to see? What's more important, ridership versus coverage? And then heard back from the public. We based a draft network on that, which was a shift more toward a ridership concept. So more emphasis on frequency, less on coverage, and went back again to the public, heard back, made tweaks based on that, and came back with the recommended network, which was approved by this board in July of 2023. So this board approved a map that showed the routes and a general time frame span of service, as well as frequencies by route. So what we did is go back and then create the actual maps and timetables, run all the routes in a bus, go through all that detailed work. So existing network here. And again, just to review, before we started this process, we had kind of some duplication, and we had about an even split between ridership and coverage. The board voted for us to go back and shift that balance to a higher ridership percentage of 70% with 30% coverage. We came up with the draft network, which is here. We heard a lot of comments. And based on those, we were able to go back and bring the board the recommended network. So that is the recommended network. And this is sort of a summary of what we got out of this. Essentially more access to jobs, more frequent bus service, 12,000 more residents have access to buses every 15 minutes. That's an 80% increase. Consistent service 7 days a week is going to be, I think, a really great benefit. 150% more service on Sunday. So a lot of really good stuff came out of this. We had a lot of public input. And so now where we are in this process, again, July 2023, this board approved the recommended network. So since that time, we have been creating this detailed work. And so this is being introduced to you all today, and then to the public after that. And then we will come back to you in April with a Title VI analysis and any public comments that we've received on this detailed level. And if the board chooses to vote in April and approve our plan, then we will be implementing in August of this year. So a few things. Once you sort of get on the road and start looking and timing, things are different than they are in concept, right? So we were pleased to be able to add a few little details here and there that we think will improve this concept even more. So one thing was we had time to include Target on the Route 23 Millertown. We were able to do some fancy interlining footwork and have 30-minute service on Route 37, which is a Morningside-Riverside route. It was originally approved as once an hour, but the way that we were able to look at the service, we're able to do that in a 30-minute frequency. We also had just a small balance of resources left that would allow us to bring the Route 10 Sequoia Hills back into the mix. And we did hear a lot from folks about not only Sequoia, but just that entire section of Kingston Pike. And so to be able to provide some level of service there is we're happy that was something, it's a peak service only, but it's something that we would be able to bring back. And then a minor change to the downtown connector that would serve the actual CAT platform, just to better connect downtown visitors with the rest of the transit system. So this is just, I know it's tiny. This is sort of what the new network looks like now. So it's very similar to what you saw, except there's a little Target blob up there that does make a little difference. And the color of the Route 37 is blue, whereas it was green, representing once an hour before. I'm just going to go through each of the new routes just so you can get a visual of them. Like I said, you have the full packet that has the entire map, but also all of the timetables too. And I'm not going to pull up all the timetables. You can kind of, the span of service, and you can definitely take a look at those. But just wanted to run through what the actual routes are. So the first one is the downtown connector. And it is every 12 minutes. It runs 7 days a week. And the two kind of terminus points are at Riga Square and at 5 points at Austin. It shuttles through downtown, and then I mentioned does Knoxville Station as well. Civic Coliseum Garage maintains that connection, which is so important with our current frequent Blue Line trolley. This is the Route 10. It's dotted, meaning that it's peak only. So that is this pretty much the exact same service that we were offering pre-COVID, 3 trips in the morning, 3 trips in the afternoon from the Sequoia Hills area into downtown. This is the Route 11, which is slightly renamed. It is Route 11 Sutherland, Kingston Pike. So this route, along with the Route 17 Sutherland Bearden, allows us to provide 15-minute service on Sutherland Avenue. So I know, again, these maps are sort of like small. You might see a little bit of overlap with red on the Sutherland Avenue portion, and let me just go on. This is the Sutherland Avenue portion, and you can see where the blue interacts with that. So we tried to show where routes sort of overlap. Essentially, this is showing Sutherland Avenue area, and you can see that the Route 17 is the red, and it operates from downtown along Sutherland, turns around in Bearden. The Kingston Pike bus, the Sutherland Kingston Pike bus, follows the exact same trail, except once it reaches Bearden, it keeps going, and it does the Kingston Pike service. So every other bus is continuing on further out. Every other bus is turning around and coming back in, if that kind of makes sense. So all of these buses, both the 17 and 11, will leave from the same platform. So it's just a bus every 15 minutes going in this direction. So that is how that will work. If you take a look at that timetable, hopefully that will make sense about how that is all plays out. The next one is Route 12, Western Avenue. This is same name, different route. So we're trying to make sure our passengers are aware that this is a slightly different route, but covers a lot of the same area. This is the only extension that we have as part of the plan. This will be going to the Walmart Marketplace on Western, and that is new. It will run every 30 minutes and run 7 days a week. Does cover Lonsdale both inbound and outbound, and is direct service to the Food City in Mechanicsville from downtown in the university area. This is Route 15. It's our Woodland Crosstown route. It operates similarly to the 11 and 17 in that Route 12 that I just showed you and Route 15 here both depart downtown every 15 minutes, alternating. And they both go straight to the Food City. So you have service every 15 minutes from Knoxville Station to the Food City on Western via the Route 12 as well as the Route 15. This route then goes on to Western Heights and straight on across Woodland to serve the safety complex, but also Fulton. This was also something that was important to us and important to the folks at KCDC that we talked to have that direct connect between Western Heights and Fulton. And so we're really excited that we were able to do that with this plan. This then goes on to serve the Whittle Springs Valley View area, on over to the Walmart East and then back. So again, that direct connect for Western Heights folks who may want to go to either Walmart or go to Food City. This is just a close in so you can see more detail of the western side of the Route 15 route, the Food City, the Western Heights, Public Safety, and Fulton. This is, I know it looks tiny because this is probably our longest route. It's a kind of amalgam of several routes we have now, including Route 13, parts of Route 90, and Route 16. So this is Route 16, Middlebrook, Cedar Bluff. So this route goes through Mechanicsville, Middlebrook State Office Building, over to Walbrook Superstop, where it provides transfer opportunities with the Route 11 Kingston Pike. It then goes on to serve Cedar Bluff, very similarly to how Cedar Bluff is served now, Park West Hospital, Winter Square, Marketplace. And then returns to Walbrook, again offering those transfers to Kingston Pike, and then returns back via Middlebrook. So a long route, covers a lot of territory, offered 7 days a week. And this is a close-up of how it leaves out of town. So essentially covering Mechanicsville, I mentioned, going by Food City, but not in Food City, and then on to the state office building. But you can see those other connections with where the 15 is and the 12 is and the 11 and how those tie together. Route 20 is very similar to the current Route 20 that we have. There's only a minor change where we spend a little more time or spend time on merchants that we don't now. So there is a area of merchants we cover on this from Central Avenue Pike to Clinton Highway that we don't currently serve, but is a pretty high use area. The Broadway is very similar to how the Broadway operates now, except that it uses Church Avenue inbound and outbound from downtown, and that is sort of set-up work for the eventual ABC, Accelerated Bus Corridor, because that is the routing for the ABC. The other change for this is that it does not go to a super stop like it does now, because we don't have those connections anymore. So there's no need to have that extra super stop. So it just does Broadway. This is, you will recall, the added in Route 23. This is weekdays only, kind of midday, sort of 7:45 to 5:45 service. It is also the coverage for O'Connor Senior Center, which we propose to serve on Winona, and also the service for Broadway Towers, which we propose to serve on Fifth Avenue. Currently, we serve Broadway Towers in their parking lot, which can be a little bit challenging because they have gates that tend to close, and so we're limited in when we can serve them, and it causes us to divert a couple of blocks out of the way. By using the road 6th Avenue directly behind Broadway Towers, we're able to serve it the entire time. They've recently added a nice, lovely pavilion for their residents out there, and so it's a nice covered waiting area, and I think it's going to improve that overall experience. So 6th Avenue is where we would serve Broadway Towers. And then, again, mentioned on to Walmart, and then to Target, and then back. This is a close-up so you can see the service to O'Connor. Then it goes straight on up and serves Broadway Towers, and then on from there. That's just that little kind of close-up you can sort of see.
So are you going to go into the parking lot at O'Connor? Okay.
Nope, just the service on the main street behind it. Mm-hmm. The next is Route 24. This is Lincoln Park Inskip. So right now we have a Route 21 that serves Lincoln Park and a Route 24 that serves the Inskip area. This route combines both of those into one. So the Lincoln Park service is very similar to the service that we have now. It just then goes further on up to serve Northridge Crossing, Breeder Road area on up, and then serves Inskip, and will be going by the Inskip Park and Inskip Pool. And this is once an hour service, 7 days a week. This is the Magnolia, very similar to the Magnolia that we have now, except very excited to say it's every 15 minutes on weekdays under this proposal. It has a slightly smaller turnaround, shorter turnaround than it does now, which you can see in the inset. But that is really the only change besides the 15-minute frequency on Magnolia. This is the Route 32, Dandridge Avenue. Again, same name, different routing. This covers 1,100 Studio Apartments and Lula Powell Drive, which is the curvy part up at the top of the hill just behind the station, and then goes out Dandridge, covers Brooks border area, Knoxville Botanical Gardens, Golden Age, up to the Kirkwood Superstop, where transfers can be made to Route 31, and another bus route that I will talk about shortly. And again, operating 7 days a week, once an hour. This is the Route 34 Burlington Shopper. This is every 30 minutes from downtown and runs through the Burlington neighborhood, covers a lot of the area that our current 33 MLK uses, but it's every 30 minutes. And also, we're happy that we feel like the timing for Austin East is much better than it is now. One, it's 30 minutes, and two, we worked with the folks at Austin East to try to time this in a way that will hopefully work for students either going in either direction, morning or afternoon. It also provides direct connect in the afternoon to both the Phyllis Wheatley Center and the Change Center. So no transfers, nothing like that, just direct service in both of those situations. And then the bus going eastbound goes to the super stop and then goes further on Asheville Highway to take the interstate to Walmart. So that is why we called it a shopper. So it's essentially the Burlington neighborhood with a direct connect to Walmart and then back. This is again every 30 minutes and is 7 days a week. The next route is a small route, small but mighty, small but effective. This is a 37 Morningside Riverside. This is what serves Isabella Towers as well as the Riverside area that we currently serve, Natchez and Wilder area. And so this is every 30 minutes on weekdays, once an hour on Saturdays and Sundays. These are the South Knoxville routes, and they are essentially what you see now, or if you will recall, we made some minor changes to that the board approved for our April 8th shakeup. So just a few minor changes. The south routes will be using the Gay Street Viaduct or Gay Street Bridge as opposed to the Henley Bridge to try to get away from some of the afternoon traffic patterns on the Henley Bridge that tend to affect our on-time performance. And so this is the Route 40. It will operate 7 days a week under this plan. The Route 41, again, the changes for routing take effect April 8th, but everything else will remain the same under this particular proposal. So again, except for the increase in service level, so 30-minute service on Sundays and that 30-minute service weekdays and Saturdays as well. The Route 42 routing itself remains the same. This is our hospital bus, Fort Sanders and UT Medical Centers. The route itself stays the same. 30-minute service weekdays, Saturdays, and Sundays on Route 42. And then Route 45, again, the only changes are the ones that were approved routing-wise for April 8th, and this will operate 7 days a week, once an hour, weekdays, Saturdays, Sundays. And that is the new Kta Reimagined routing network. So our next steps, we will do a news release on this on Monday. There, I mentioned, will be a full packet of timetables and maps, just like you all received on both the catbus.com and the Kta Reimagined websites. We'll be doing social media and messaging on buses, some audio messages on the buses as well. And we mentioned before, we will have our Title VI analysis provided to you next month, and would request that you consider voting next month. And I think it would probably, given the large nature of the change, would suggest a public hearing for April. And if you choose to vote next month, then we will be able to meet an implementation date of August 26th of 2024. Any questions? Oh, yeah.
This is just kind of a functional question for me with, I think it was Route 34. When you're dealing with local transit getting on an interstate, how do you assure reliability and frequency if there is like a wreck on the interstate? Are we allowed to use the shoulder to drive on, or how do we take into account that we would be on an interstate?
Well, I think the interstate is going to be like any other road we drive on where if we get blocked somehow, currently we're blocked from a street, I think in South Knoxville due to utility work. So that's when our supervisors, will go and suggest an alternate route. So it could be that we have to maybe use an old routing or a different routing just to get there. So that's when our road supervisors kick it in and do that.
Any other questions, commissioners? Oh, we'll come to you in just a minute at the public comments. I appreciate your enthusiasm. I just wanted to say thank you all. This has been a great accomplishment. I mean, you're bringing people to offering our riders access to resources, access to public offices, and access to employment. So thank you so much for that.
If I can add one thing, we're on a tight time frame to meet implementation on the deadline. If anyone knows they can't make the next meeting, please let one of us know as early as possible, just so we can have a sense of what we're looking at from a quorum standpoint.
I do have one follow-up actually for you, John. I was asking Belinda, if we, over the next month or so, as we're kind of digging through this, if we have any relevant questions, would it be beneficial for us to just email staff and copy you so the answers can be circulated to all the commissioners? If they're just general questions about things?
Start with staff, and then if staff feels like some clarification needs to be circulated based on a question, they can just send that out.
Great, thank you.
That way. We're just trying to avoid the direct communication
Exactly. Yeah.
directly between members, so we can do it that way.
Great, thank you.
And now we'll turn it over to Doug. Oh. Okay. Thank you. Any new business?
I'd just like to get on the record again. I appreciate how you guys went back when we were looking at Broadway Towers O'Connor Center, and I really appreciate the fact that y'all didn't just drop Sequoia Hills. I remember the gentleman came in and had bought his place in Sequoia Hills, and he was a professor at UT, and that was the reason he bought it. But I really think I want to get that on record that you guys went back and said, hey, we still got some stuff. And so even though we'd passed it, it was going on. I personally appreciate the fact that y'all didn't just drop that since it had gone on. And I'd like to get on record that you continued to work on that even though there wasn't anybody continually breathing down your neck. It says a lot to the way you guys are doing business.
Thank you.
Any new business?
No new business.
Any old business?
No.
Okay. And it looks like Christian Beverly signed up for public comments. So come on up, Christian. Give us your name and your address. Can we hear? You have to push the, yeah. It's like a little speaker, like a person talking.
Let him know he has 5 minutes.
Okay. And you have 5 minutes for your comments.
There you go. Yep.
All right. Awesome. So again, my name is Christian Beverly, and I actually live on Sunrose Road. But I just had a few questions based off what I've seen here, and then I have one question for general. I don't know what you call it, but anyways, a question about the number 11. Are we still going to have access to that Kroger, the Kroger and all the other stuff that's right there? Okay, awesome. And then, okay, so I noticed here that you're splitting the 32 and the 34. But you said the 32 is going to be every hour, but the 34 is every 30 minutes. Is there any way to make the 32 every 30 minutes?
I mean, not without taking service away from somewhere else.
Okay. So I'm assuming that the 32 is not a high usage route, or no?
Yeah, we don't anticipate that it tends to not be as heavily used as
no.
the area, of Five Points, Burlington. Yeah.
Okay, dang. So with that being said, I noticed that they're making a change coming up here shortly. I think April something. They're actually at the corner of McDonald and Yellowstone. They're taking that stop away completely. And you're basically going to go up to where they turn right here into Golden Age. But I find that a little bit problematic because, and I'm being respectful as possible, but it takes about 10 minutes to walk to that stop already. So if they move that stop, it's probably going to take like 15 minutes to get to that stop. And obviously, with the snow and rain and groceries, it's just going to be a lot. So I was wondering if there's anything we can do to try and keep that stop there on that corner of McDonald and not Sunrose, but it's McDonald and Yellowstone. Sorry, Yellowstone is the name of that street. Yellowstone.
We could take a look at that. Yeah.
Okay. But I think that takes effect April, what is it, April 8th?
April 8th. Yep.
Okay, I'm like, that's kind of a priority.
Okay.
And I'll get with you after this as well. We can talk about that.
Thank you, Christian. So I guess our next meeting is April the 25th, and the commissioners will let the staff know if we have any conflicts, we won't be able to be present for that vote. Thank you all.